Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the previous year questions from the chapter Environmental Chemistry of JEE Mains. By solving these questions, you can have the idea that about the previous year's questions were asked from this chapter, that is environmental chemistry. Now coming to the objective questions, only one correct options are present. Here correct option is present. Now the first question is the primary pollutant that leads to photochemical smog is. We know that photochemical smog means these are the brown hazy fumes having the characteristic odor of ozone. We know that already. So here photochemical smog, here they are asking about the primary pollutant that leads to photochemical smog, that is nothing but nitrogen oxides are the primary pollutant that leads to the photochemical smog. Here let's study about the formation of photochemical smog. These photochemical smogs are produced by burning of fossil fuels such as petrol and diesel in the automobiles. Here reaction between the nitrogen and oxygen and other such reactions result in the variety of pollutants. So here the two pollutants are hydrocarbons and nitric oxide are the two main pollutants. So now let's study the reaction between this nitrogen and oxygen. When the N2 plus O2 reacted in the petrol and diesel engines, we will get 2NO, that is nitric oxide is formed here. This nitric oxide which is formed will react with the atmospheric oxygen. It will lead to the formation of 2NO2, that is formation of nitrogen dioxide will take place. This nitrogen dioxide which is formed then absorbs the energy from the sunlight. This nitrogen dioxide which is formed will absorb the energy from the sunlight. It will undergo photochemical dissociation to produce the reactive species, that is NO plus atomic oxygen is produced here. It is also called as nascent oxygen. This nitric oxide will react with the ozone, that is O3 plus NO, will give rise to NO2 plus O2. It is a brown gas. It is again nitrogen dioxide. So here the primary pollutant that leads to the photochemical smog is nothing but nitrogen oxides. These are the nitrogen oxides which are the primary pollutants which are leading to the photochemical smog. This is about the first question. Now let's move to the second question. The second question is like this. The correct set of species responsible for the photochemical smog is option A N2, NO2 and hydrocarbons, option B CO2, NO2, SO2 and hydrocarbons, option C NO, NO2, O3 and hydrocarbons, option D is N2, O2, O3 and hydrocarbons. See, the correct set of species which are responsible for the photochemical smog is option C, that is NO, NO2, O3 and hydrocarbons are responsible for the photochemical smog. Here you can see in the above reaction it is also about the photochemical smog. I have represented these reactions. Here you can see the species which are involved in this reaction are nitrogen, that is nitric oxide, nitrogen dioxide and the ozone. We have already seen it in the above reaction. So these three are correct. Here you can see, and I have said that hydrocarbons are also the main pollutants which are involved in the formation of this photochemical smog. So let's see about this hydrocarbons. Here the ozone and the nitrogen dioxide formed are highly oxidative in nature. You can see here are the photochemical in the formation of photochemical smog. We have seen that the formation of ozone and nitrogen dioxide takes place. These ozone and nitrogen dioxides formed are highly oxidative in nature and hence they can oxidize hydrocarbons present in the polluted air to form the compounds like formaldehyde, acrolein and peroxyacyl nitrite. Here you can see in the reaction that it is the unburnt hydrocarbon. When it is reacted with the ozone will give rise to formaldehyde, that is HCH4 plus 3H2O is formed in this reaction. So the correct answer is the species which are responsible for the photochemical smog is NO, that is nitric oxide, NO2, nitrogen dioxide, O3, ozone and hydrocarbons are the species responsible for the formation of the photochemical smog. Now let's move to the next question. Now third question is air pollution that occurs in sunlight is option A acid rain, option B oxidizing smog, option C fog and option D is reducing smog. We know that photochemical smog will occur during the hot seasons, generally during the sunny days only. In sunlight only oxidizing smog or photochemical smog or Los Angeles smog is formed. Photochemical smog is also called as oxidizing smog or Los Angeles smog. So this smog is brown in color and it occurs in warm, dry and sunny climate. So in the presence of sunlight what happens means the nitrogen oxides and O2 and unburnt hydrocarbons of air combine to produce photochemical smog. We already know that. So which lead to the formation of the peroxyacyl nitrate, that is CH3 CO OO NO2. It is the peroxyacyl nitrate. It is PAN. So the air pollution that occurs in sunlight is the oxidizing smog. It is also called as photochemical smog or also Los Angeles smog is formed. Now coming to the fourth question, the reasons of the atmosphere where cloud form and where we live respectively are option A stratosphere and stratosphere, option B troposphere and troposphere, option C troposphere and stratosphere, option D stratosphere and troposphere. So the atmosphere is divided into the layers according to the major changes in the temperature. So the first comes troposphere, then comes stratosphere, then comes mesosphere and then comes the thermosphere. Here the lowest region of the atmosphere is the troposphere. It is the lowest region. So this troposphere will extend up to the height of 10 kilometers from the sea level. So we live in this tropospheric region. Why? Because it contains air, water vapor and dust which can form clouds with the help of strong air movement. And above the troposphere we can see stratosphere. This stratosphere region extends up to 50 kilometers from the sea level. And then comes the mesosphere and then comes the thermosphere. So this troposphere which contains air, water vapor and dust which can form the clouds with the help of strong air movement. So here the region of the atmosphere where clouds form and where we live respectively are, it is nothing but troposphere and troposphere. It is the lowest layer of the atmosphere. And fifth question is the layer of atmosphere between 10 kilometers to 50 kilometers above the sea level is called as. So here I have represented stratosphere, that is 10 to 50 kilometers, then comes the mesosphere, that is 50 to 80 kilometers. So here the stratosphere is the correct answer. See, the layer of atmosphere between 10 kilometers to 50 kilometers above the sea level is called as stratosphere. The option A is correct answer for this. Now coming to the sixth question, excessive release of CO2 into the atmosphere results in, the option D is correct answer, that is global warming. The effect of release of CO2 gas into the atmosphere is called as global warming. Now seventh question is the maximum prescribed concentration of copper in drinking water is. According to the WHO, the maximum allowable concentration of metal copper is 3 parts per million. So the option D is the correct option for this. And it is different for the different metal. For the zinc it is 5 and for the manganese it is 0.05 and for the iron it is 0.2 etc. Now coming to the eighth question. So here they have given the assertion and reason type of question. Assertion A is like this, that is ozone is destroyed by CFCs in the upper stratosphere. And the reason is ozone holes increase the amount of UV radiation reaching the earth. They have given the options. Option A, assertion and reason are incorrect. Option B is assertion and reason are both correct and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. And option C is assertion and reason are correct but the reason is not the explanation for the assertion. And option D is assertion is false but the reason is correct. Now when coming to the assertion, ozone is destroyed by CFCs in the upper stratosphere. Yes, the assertion is correct. Why? Because the ozone is destroyed by the chlorofluorocarbons only. So the assertion is correct. While coming to the reason, ozone holes increase the amount of UV radiation reaching the earth. So here coming to the reason, ozone holes increase the amount of UV radiation reaching the earth. It is also a correct reason. But it is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Why? Because ozone gas is present in the upper stratosphere. We already know that. So when these CFCs react with the ozone, then it will break the molecule of ozone gas which results in ozone layer depletion. Here then the ozone layer will have the holes, so it increases the amount of UV radiation reaching the earth. So both the assertion and reason are correct but the reason is not the correct explanation of the assertion. So the correct option is option C, that is assertion and reason are correct but the reason is not the explanation for the assertion. Now coming to the ninth question. Which is wrong with respect to our responsibility as a human being to protect our environment? Option A, restricting the use of vehicles. Option B, avoiding the use of flood-lighted facilities. Option C, setting up composting in gardens. And option D, using plastic bags. So the correct option is option D, that is using plastic bags. Using plastic bags is wrong with respect to responsibility as a human being to protect our environment. Why? Because these plastic bags are non-biodegradable in nature. So it remains in the environment as such and does not degrade by bacteria. So if these plastic bags are not disposed properly, then it may lead to serious threat to the environment. So using the plastic bags is wrong with respect to our responsibilities as a human being to protect our environment. And the activities that can be used to protect our environment are restricting the use of vehicles, avoiding the use of flood-lighted facilities, setting up composting in gardens. These are the activities which we can do to protect our environment. But using of plastic bags is wrong with respect to our responsibility as a human being to protect our environment. Now 10th question is, the upper stratosphere consisting of ozone layer protects us from sun's radiation that falls in the wavelength region of. They are asking about the upper stratosphere consisting of ozone layer. We already know that. So this ozone layer protects us from the sun's radiation. This sun emits UV radiation. We already know that it is UV radiation. So according to this electromagnetic waves categorization, this UV light is having the wavelength range from 1 nanometer to 400 nanometer. This is the range of UV light. So here the correct option is option D. It is 200 to 315 nanometers. So the correct range from 1 nanometers to 400 nanometer. So the correct option is 200 to 315 nanometers. Why? Because it is coming in between these ranges. While option A, option B and option C are more than these ranges. So these are the wrong options, whereas option D is the correct option. Now 11th question, the compound that is not a common component of photochemical smog is option A, CF2, Cl2. Option B is PAN, that is acetyl nitrate, and option C is acrolein, and option D is ozone. So consider this option B, C, D. These are the common components of the photochemical smog. We already know that is nitrogen oxides and the hydrocarbons are the components of photochemical smog. That is pan, acrolein and ozone are the components of the photochemical smog. Whereas the CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons, are not the components of photochemical smog. They are the components of the stratospheric pollution. See here, this option B, C, D will occur in the, that is they result in the tropospheric pollution, whereas these freons will occur in the, that is will cause the pollution in the stratospheric pollution. See this, we already know that this chlorofluorocarbons is considered as the major cause of ozone layer depletion. So here these CFCs are not the common component of the photochemical smog. So the option A is the correct option. Now coming to the 12th question. Water samples with BOD values of 4 ppm and 18 ppm respectively are option A clean and clean, option B highly polluted and clean, option C highly polluted and highly polluted, option D clean and highly polluted. See here they have given water pollution with BOD values. What is BOD? That is biochemical oxygen demand. That means the amount of oxygen required by bacteria to break down the organic matter present in certain value of the sample of water. So here the amount of oxygen which is required by the bacteria to break down the organic matter present in the certain value of sample of water is called as biochemical oxygen demand. Obviously, the amount of biochemical oxygen demand in water is measure of amount of organic material in the water. Here, clean water would have BOT values of less than 5 parts per million, whereas highly polluted water will have the BOD values of, that is greater than 17 parts per million. So, they have given 4 ppm and 18 ppm. For the clean water, BOD value is less than 5. That means 4 ppm is clean. While coming to the 18 ppm, BOD value of highly polluted water will have the value of 17 ppm or more than 17 ppm. So here is 18 ppm, so it is highly polluted. So the correct option is option D, that is clean and highly polluted. Coming to the 13th question, the molecule that has minimum or no role in formation of photochemical smog is. The photochemical smog is very important. That's why the questions are again and again asked. So we know that which are the molecules which play maximum role in the formation of photochemical smog. That is ozone, nitric oxide and nitrogen oxides, and this is the hydrocarbon will also play maximum role in the formation of the photochemical smog, whereas this N2 has a minimum role in the formation of the photochemical smog. Always remember that hydrocarbons which are unburnt and the nitric oxide and the O3 is having the major role in the formation of this photochemical smog. So the correct option is option A, which is having the minimum role, that is N2 is having the minimum role in the formation of the photochemical smog. Coming to the 14th question. Taj Mahal is being slowly disfigured and discolored. This is primarily due to option A water pollution, option B soil pollution, option C global warming and option D acid rain. So this is also very easy question. Acid rain, it is having the pH from 3.5 to 5.6. So it is having strong acids like that is HNO3, H2SO4 and H2SO3. These acids will slowly react with the marble. So we know that Taj Mahal is a marble, that is CaCO3 is present. This marble of the Taj Mahal will slowly react with these acids like HNO3, H2SO4, etc. and make it disfigured and discolored. So here this CaCO3 will get dissolved in the acids. So the correct option is option D, that is acid rain is responsible for the slowly disfigured and discolored Taj Mahal. So when this marble, that is CaCO3, is reacted with this acid rain, we will get Ca2 plus H2O plus CO2. The correct option is acid rain. Now coming to the 15th question, the higher concentration of which gas in air can cause stiffness of flower buds? So they are asking about which gas in air can cause the stiffness of the flower buds. They have given the option SO2, CO, CO2 and NO2. See here, when the organic pigments, that is colorants present in the flower, comes in contact with the SO2, reaction between SO2 and water takes place and it leads to the formation of H2SO4. When this H2SO4 is further gives H plus and HSO4 minus, and then this HSO4 minus will give H plus plus SO4 2 minus. Here the release of H plus ion takes place. We know that it is a acid. So due to the release of the H plus ions, the flower gets decolored and they become stiff. So as a result, they fall off from the plants. So the correct option is option A, that is SO2. Now coming to the 16th question, that is peroxyacetyl nitrate pan, and high irritant is produced by option A organic waste, option B acid rain, option C classical smog, option D photochemical smog. It is also question related to photochemical smog. So by these so many questions, we know that this pan, that is peroxyacetyl nitrate, it is a hydrocarbon and it is also a high irritant. It is one of the major component of the photochemical smog. As we have studied in the previous questions only, this is also called as, this photochemical smog is also called as oxidizing or Los Angeles smog. So this peroxyacetyl nitrate is produced by photochemical smog. This pan is powerful tear producer and it also causes breathing troubles also. Now coming to the 17th question, the concentration of dissolved oxygen in cold water is option A 14 parts per million, option B 10 ppm, option C 8 ppm and option D 16 ppm. First of all, we have to know what is dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen is nothing but it is the oxygen dissolved in water either from the atmosphere or by the photosynthesis. The photosynthesis is mainly responsible for oxygen entering in the water. And these dissolved oxygen levels are often highest in the afternoon because of high levels of sunlight, and high levels of photosynthesis occurs in the afternoon. So in pure cold water, dissolved oxygen can reach the concentration up to 10 parts per million. See here, 10 parts per million in the pure cold water. Whereas the polluted water have dissolved oxygen levels is less than 6 parts per million. That is 6 parts per million in the polluted water. So they are asking about the concentration of dissolved oxygen in cold water is 10 parts per million is the correct answer. Option B is the correct option. 18th question is, The reaction that is not involved in the ozone layer depletion mechanism in the stratosphere is, we know that ozone layer depletion is mainly due to the chlorofluorocarbons only. So here CH4, you can see here the CH4 is present, it is a hydrocarbon. We know that it will not occur in the stratosphere, it is only related to the tropospheric pollution. That is formation of photochemical smog that is in the troposphere but not in the stratosphere. Here the stratosphere is mainly by chlorofluorocarbons. This ozone layer depletion takes place. So here CH4 is not present in the stratosphere and also it cannot diffuse or escape into the stratosphere like the freons, that is chlorofluorocarbons, from the atmosphere. So by directly seeing these reactions, we can say that option A is the correct option. Why? Because this CH4 is not present in the stratosphere. Here you can see these are the chlorofluorocarbons which are involved in the ozone layer depletion. That coming to the 19th question, water filled in two glasses A and B have BOD values 10 and 20 respectively. The correct statement regarding them is option A is more polluted than B. Option B, A is suitable for drinking whereas B is not. Option C, both A and B are suitable for drinking, and option D is B is more polluted than A. We know that BOD is defined as the amount of oxygen required by the bacteria to break down the organic matter present in certain volume of sample of water. So, clean water or drinking water has BOD value that is less than 5 ppm. Less than 5 ppm. So, here the water filled in the glass A is having the BOD value 10 ppm, whereas glass B is having the value 20 ppm. So, the water filled in the glass A is polluted and B is also polluted. So, here you can see it is also polluted and it is also polluted, but compared to A and B, what is more polluted? That is B is more polluted than the A. So, the option D is the correct answer, that is B is more polluted than the A. And 28th question is, the pH of rainwater is approximately, option A 7.5, option B 6.5, option C 5.6 and option D 7.0. So here in the clean water, rainwater picks up some acidic oxides like carbon dioxide and SO2. So these are obtained from the volcanic eruptions. These substances make the rain water slightly acidic. So the pH ranges from the 5.6 to 6. So the correct option is option C, that is 5.6. That is 5.6 to 6 is the range. So the option is 5.6, while other are more than this. 21st question is, the condition for methemoglobinemia by drinking water is option A more than 50 ppm nitrate, option B more than 50 ppm chloride, option C more than 50 ppm lead, and option D is more than 100 ppm sulfate. So according to EEC, that is European Environment Commission, the excess of NO3 minus, that is more than 50 ppm in drinking water may cause this methemoglobinemia. It is also called as blue baby syndrome. It may also cause stomach cancer also. So excess of the NO3 minus, that is more than 50 ppm nitrate, is the cause for this methemoglobinemia. It is also called as blue baby syndrome. Now coming to the 22nd question, the water samples has ppm levels concentration of the following metals: Fe 0.2, Mn is 5.0, Cu is 3.0 and Zn is 5.0. The metal that makes water sample unsuitable for drinking is. Now for drinking water, the maximum recommended level of some metals set by the EEC, that is European Environmental Commission, is, so the metal Zn, zinc, manganese, iron, copper. So the maximum concentration, that is 5, 0.05, 0.2 and 3. So this is the maximum concentration in the ppm. So here Fe is having 0.2, Mn is having 5.0, here it is 0.05, whereas Cu is having 3, it is also correct, and zinc is having 5, it is also correct. But if you see this manganese, that is, it is having 5.0, whereas the recommended level is 0.05. So the water sample which is unsuitable for drinking is this manganese sample, that is, it is more than the recommended level by the EEC. So the correct option is option C is the correct option. Why? Because it is having the very high concentration when compared to the recommended level of concentration set by the European Environment Commission. So these are the 22 questions which are asked in the previous year questions of the JEE mains. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and share our videos. Thank you.